My name is Sandy Adamitis, the social media director for the Page International Screenwriting Awards, and your host for the Writers Hangout, a podcast that celebrates the many stages of writing, from inspiration to the first draft, revising, getting a project made, and everything in between. We'll talk to the best and the brightest in the entertainment industry and create a space where you can hang out, learn from the pros, and have fun. Hey, writers, it's Sandy. I'm coming to you from Studio City, the Paris of the San Fernando Valley. I couldn't be more excited to share this special episode with you. My guest is Jerry Zucker, who, along with his brother David and their friend Jim Abrahams, created the 1980 instant classic hit Airplane, named by the American Film Institute among the 10 funniest films of all time. Writers, Jerry Zucker revolutionized comedy, and we're gonna get to talk to him today. Jerry also directed Ruthless People, Ghost, starring Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. He and his partners turned Police Squad into the successful film franchise that it is today. He also produced First Night, Rat Race, A Walk in the Clouds, and My Best Friend's Wedding. Jerry is one of the most influential figures in the history of comedy. You know, writers, life is tough. A lot of us are struggling out there, and I've been going through it myself lately. I hope you guys are okay out there. I really do. But moments like this, when I get to interview a man I have such immense respect for, are moments I never want to take for granted. I'm so happy to share this interview with Jerry Zucker. I want to thank Darlene Chan and Katie Zucker for helping put together this dream interview. Let's start the show. Jerry, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Pleasure to hang.
Now, Jerry, of all of my guests, I think you are the most hyphenated. You are a producer, a director, a screenwriter. And the last time I checked on IMDb, after screenwriter, they hyphenated really great guy.
That would be nice, but that's the title I really want.
Now, before we get started, would you like to play a quick round of Would You Rather?
Oh, God. Go ahead. I'm never great at these games, but go ahead.
Okay. Would you rather be an extra in an Oscar-winning movie or the lead in a box office bomb?
An extra, definitely. I have a deathly fear of bombs, being associated in any way, and I have been, yeah.
Would you rather get a tattoo of the last book you read or the last movie you saw?
Last book I read.
And what would your tattoo be?
It would be the Kinsey Report. No, I can't. Probably Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation.
Wow, that's going to be a little painful there.
Yeah.
Would you rather get a paper cut every time you turn a page or bite your tongue every time you eat?
I do bite my tongue every time I eat. So I guess that would be it. And I generally don't bleed when I bite my tongue. So I think I'd go with that.
Would you rather hop everywhere or skip everywhere?
Skip.
You can't not be happy while skipping.
The other thing is, at my age, the idea of actually skipping everywhere is just delightful.
Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every song you hear?
I think I would look a lot more ridiculous dancing to every song. However, singing every song would be painful. I would probably lose more friends that way.
Would you rather be stranded on a desert island with somebody who won't stop talking about the television series The Flying Nun, or be alone?
That's a great one. I think I probably would rather be on an island with someone who wouldn't stop talking, because it depends upon how long. If you can tell me how long we'll be there, But no, maybe alone, actually. That could be pretty painful. I was going to say just because you want to be with someone, but if that's all they talk about, maybe alone would be better.
Would you rather be able to converse with animals or speak every language?
Speak every language.
Would you rather be followed by a band wherever you go or someone narrating your life?
Someone narrating my life. I think a band would get everywhere I go would get pretty annoying. And I assume someone narrating my life would just be, only I would hear it. On the other hand, if it was blasting over loudspeakers, maybe a band would be better.
Yeah. It would be hard to get reservations with a band, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly.
That was so much fun. Thank you. I would
So
like
that's it. Now that's all you need to know, really.
That's all we need to know. Thank you so much. No, I'm going to start way back in the beginning. You grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with your future creative partner and talented brother, David. What were your aspirations as a kid? I know you guys were very involved with comedy, even at a young age. You loved Mad Magazine, but did you always wanted to be in the film industry?
No, I never had fantasies about being in the film industry because it wasn't real to me. Growing up in Milwaukee, you don't even know anyone who knows someone in the movie business. It's just not around. Whereas if you live in LA, every garage mechanic has a script there they want to sell or whatever. But but we did make jokes all the time, and our family valued that. That was a good thing. We didn't get disciplined for it. They laughed. We learned that there was value in a good joke. But I never, and even when we started Kentucky Fried Theater in Madison, at the beginning, it was just a lark. And it wasn't until much, much later when we were out here that the idea of actually directing a movie occurred to us.
When we're younger, we don't even know writers write the films.
We were actually writers and still think of ourselves as writers. That's really what I am. Like I think Mel Brooks once said he directs out of self-defense. And I think particularly with Airplane, we had a very specific vision of the style of acting and playing it that straight. And we insisted on directing it. And we were actually pretty lucky that they let us.
The world is just better off with Airplane existing. Now, you went to the University of Wisconsin.
Right.
Your brother David had gotten there first because he was older. What did you study in school?
I was an education major. I actually taught high school for a semester.
Oh, I could not love you anymore. That is amazing. A teacher.
Yeah. And at that point, I just had no idea what I would do for a living because I didn't think I could really teach year after year. And there was nothing else that I was competent at, really.
Okay.
And so I was really lucky that the whole comedy thing worked out.
Did you ever get to teach?
Yeah, I taught for a semester at Madison East High School. It was part of my student teacher program. They let you do that. Yeah.
I would imagine you'd be just an amazing teacher because you could bring humor to it.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. And I think that performance is really important for teaching because in order to teach anybody anything, you have to have their attention. And that's hard. There's so many distractions, especially with cell phones now. I was surprised even then, probably the key to teaching, yeah.
Yes. Now, at the University of Wisconsin, that's where Kentucky Fried Theater arose. And just for the writers out there who might not know, you should know, it was a legendary comedy troupe that you co-founded with your brother David.
Jim Abrahams.
And others. It integrated live theater, videotape segments, and film scenes. How the heck did you get videotapes? Did you have a camera?
That was a very lucky thing. A friend of our family had sick room service company where they would rent hospital type equipment to people, wheelchairs and walkers and whatever. And he had a videotape machine that he would use to demonstrate things. But he wasn't using it at this point and mentioned it to my dad. And my dad actually told my brother David that maybe he could do industrial videos. David had no interest, but then he saw this show, Groove Tube. He saw it in Chicago and drove straight to Madison, where I was in school. He had graduated, and he was frothing at the mouth, telling me we could do this. We could use this video machine and play videos. And I think it was Easter break. We found ourselves, my brother and I, and Jim Abrams and another friend, Dick Chudnow, and we had this machine in the basement of our house. We were just making videotapes, and it was amazing to us that we could actually record, do a little bit, and then see it right back, and then try it again and just fool with it. David and I had made 8mm films, but you got to wait and get it developed. It's more expensive. And so this was just like a comedian's dream. And then after a while, we compiled 20 minutes of funny stuff, and we'd show it to people, and they laugh. And then we just said, let's do a show. It was really very much a Mick Rooney, Judy Garland kind of film.
What an exciting, fun time.
Yes, exactly. It was great. Yeah.
I had heard you didn't really rehearse the whole show.
The first night we actually performed the Union. There wasn't even a stage or anything, and people were just hanging around. And I think we did 45 minutes of bits, and then we ran out. We never rehearsed it. We didn't really realize that it would go so fast. So we said there'll be a 15-minute intermission. And then I talked about how much money we should refund. I think we probably charged $1 or something. I don't know. It wasn't, or maybe it was free, actually. I don't remember. But so it was a disaster. But after that, we found an old bookstore that had a big room in the back that we rented. And we spent a summer building a theater in there. Crude. Abby rents chairs and stuff. And then we rehearsed the show. And it went well.
Now, where does the name come from?
Actually, we were sitting in a restaurant thinking of names for our show. And we were throwing out stupid names that of course, we would never use. And there was a big window right by our booth, and we were throwing out joke names that just made us laugh, but not serious names for the show. And I think it was Dick Chudnow looked across the street and saw the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant and said, how about Kentucky Fried Theater? And we all just thought, wait a minute, that's funny. That works. Let's use that. So that was the origin of it.
Now, do I get this right? Kentucky Fried Theater, it's like fast comedy, fast food. Is that what you were?
I don't think we ever thought that far. It was just a funny sounding name. And also we were doing satire. Seemed to make sense to do something like that.
I love the name, and it really does stick in your head. Now, in 1972, you literally packed up Kentucky Fried Theater, rented a U-Haul, and moved to Hollywood. Now, after performing for 5 years on Pico, you decided to create Kentucky Fried Movie. Now, I'm just going to assume that was an easy step. You know, you're in LA, your theater's near 20th Century Fox Studios. Did 20th stop by with a big fat check for you guys?
Unfortunately not. I think there was like one person I remember. We were very excited. Some VP that was stopped by the show, and he was very kind, but it never amounted to anything. In the end, the show was financed by United Artists Theater Circuit, which is completely different than the United Artists Studio. took a while to get that going.
Where was it on Pico, the theater? Is it still there, the building?
No, it's right across from Rancho Park.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Groucho Marx old golf course, if I remember.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about the country club. Yes,
Hillcrest, I think, was his, maybe, no?
Hillcrest was that, but that's where Barack Obama played basketball. I remember that.
Oh, really?
When he was in town. Yes.
Not when we were there, but anyway.
Now, where did you first live in LA?
We found this building. Actually, a cousin of ours who was a doctor owned it with a bunch of other doctors. And amazingly, it had a huge space that we could put a theater in and a lobby and parking and all that. But it also had an apartment upstairs. I don't know what this was originally built for. The first thing we did when we got there was a complete mess, this place. It was just like graffitied and smashed up and whatever. But we remodeled when I say remodeled, we painted and fixed up and stuff the apartment upstairs and moved in. So we had a place to live. So
That's great.
Pretty great. Yeah.
Really cool. When I got down, I ended up way in North Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah, we were very lucky. We worked hard. We were talented guys, but I can't help but thinking that there must have been some fate involved, or I don't know.
Did you have a favorite hangout where, like after the show, did you guys go out afterwards?
Yeah, we did go out after the show frequently because we were wired. We had to unwind. And we went into Westwood. And what was the name of this place? There was a restaurant in Westwood that's not there anymore, but that was a place we would go to a lot.
Is it Hamburger Hamlet?
No, although Hamburger Hamlet was a place that we would go to, but that wasn't in Westwood. They didn't have one in Westwood.
Did it take you a while to feel at home here, or as soon as you crossed the border, you were just home?
I don't know if I would exactly say home, but we loved it here, but mostly because we loved what we were doing. Our lives were this show, especially at the beginning when we were once again had to remodel, build a theater. And that was a blast. And also we had each other. We weren't here alone. We liked LA. The weather was great. And some of the goofy things about LA, we just saw more as entertainment than just horrible pretentious or anything. We loved it. And
a lot of people look down on LA. I love it here. It's a special place. It really is.
Yeah.
Now, you and your partners optioned the 1957 movie 0 Hour. And it's about an airliner that loses its pilot and passengers to food poisoning. And you adapted that into a modern parody called Airplane. What does it feel like to write one of the top 10 AFI funniest movies in history?
It's great to be appreciated. At the time, we weren't thinking about that kind of thing. We had a particular humor that the three of us shared, a kind of satire. And we were trying to figure out what to write. And we came up with various ideas. And this is when we were still doing the theater. And we used to set the videotape machine to record late night TV shows because the commercials were actually very funny. They had really cheap, stupid commercials on at 3:00 in the morning or whatever. And so one day we were looking through and we fast forward to get to the commercials. Then we realized that there was this interesting movie in between and we started watching that and it was 0 Hour. And we thought, wait a minute, this is a great idea for a satirical film. And it was a film where it was that style of drama where everybody was really heavy hitting and everyone was tough. And I don't know, so many of the jokes in all our films came from watching old movies and saying, wait a minute, stop the tape. What if this happens? I can't remember what film it was, but someone said, surely you can't be serious. And someone said, stop the tape, and said, and Don't Call Me Shirley. So that's how a lot of those jokes came.
What was the writing process like? Did you all sit together?
Yep, we all sat together with everything in a room together. Obviously, sometimes someone would come in with a joke because we were thinking about this 24 hours a day, really, minus sleep. But we would generally sit in a room, drink coffee, and then as soon as we were all like sufficiently stimulated, we started writing, and a lot of that time was just spent laughing.
As an audience member, it just makes me happy to know that you were all in the room, because I think that's how the world envisions that you guys would have written.
Yeah.
Because you like to do parody movies, it just kept flashing in my mind. You know how they do those rock and roll movies where in the good old days, they're all recording together. And then later they're all in their separate buses. I would like to see the three of you in separate buses writing as you go across country.
Yeah. You know? We were a team, not that we didn't have our arguments, but we just did everything together.
I was just thinking about when you said that, John, I think Michael Palin said this about John Cleese, or John Cleese said it about himself. The reason why John's ideas got into our skits the most was because he would argue the longest. Did you guys?
That's funny. I don't know what things were like with Monty Python. Clearly, whatever their way of operating was, it worked. But for us, because there were three of us, there was always an instant decision. And also, we had tremendous faith in each other. So if I came up with a joke and David and Jim didn't laugh, I'd just move on. I wouldn't argue that they were wrong unless I thought they didn't understand what I was saying. And conversely, if they laughed, that was the best, to have both of them laugh. And then I knew, yes, that's going to work.
Not to be too mean to executives, but they don't always understand what's on the page. Mm-hmm. Airplane must have been difficult to verbally translate to them. Did you get along with your executives?
We were lucky. And unfortunately, you don't hear too many of these stories these days, but they were terrific and really, really helpful. And actually, right at the beginning when we went in, our idea was to do this film on a propeller plane and in black and white, like 0 Hour. We really wanted to do that movie. And Eisner said, no, if you're going to do it at this studio, it's got to be on a jet plane and in color, because I want people to have an experience that they can relate to of flying, not just the satirical part of it. And he was absolutely right.
Yeah, good on him.
So that was the thing where, the head of the studio issued an edict, and bless him for it. And there was also a guy, an executive that they put on, his name was Tom Perry. And he really taught us a lot about restructuring the film a bit and making all the flashbacks of their love story were something that he encouraged us to do. And that they were great.
That is really nice to hear. Did it take long to write the script?
Yes, but we wrote the original draft before Kentucky Fried Movie. And thank God it didn't get made because it wasn't great. And then after Kentucky Fried Movie, we rented a little bungalow in Santa Monica, and we went about rewriting it. We took the story, and I know there were 20 great jokes, maybe some more, and then went about rewriting it. But then as we showed it to people and got turned down everywhere, we just kept rewriting and adding. We used to joke that it's like a closet that's totally full, but you could always open it a little bit and stuff in one more thing and close it. So that was us with
I love that so much, and I really want to hang a lantern on that for our writers out there. You guys believed in your script. You knew it was funny. So you just kept working on it and didn't put it in a bottom drawer because you didn't get an immediate yes. And it's very admirable. And I really want our writers out there to take that away. If they take anything away from this, if you believe in something, just really keep going.
That's hard because you can believe in something and be right about it, and you can believe in something and be wrong about it. But I think that if you really feel like you have a premise or a story or something you want to say, keep at it. But the other thing that I would advise to writers is tell people the story, and just tell it like, okay, once upon a time there was this, and you don't have to tell every incident, but you just the story and watch their eyes. If they're engaged or their eyes are darting away, or if they ask questions, then what? How did this happen, or whatever? You can tell whether you have a story that's interesting to people. And I did that actually with Ghost before I had signed on. There was another movie that I liked too, and another script. I was at a party and told some friends who were also writers, and I could just see when I talked about Ghosts, they were just really intrigued. So I knew there was something there.
That is so cool. What great advice. Not only did you write Airplane, but all three of you directed it.
Yeah.
Now, for the writers out there, the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, they usually want a single director. How the heck did all three of you manage to pull that off?
Two things that we pulled off. One is three people directing, but really wasn't that difficult because we had developed this kind of humor and written the script and been together for years. And so when we would talk about what was wrong, we all had the exact same vision of what we wanted. We were just trying to figure out how to get there. And okay, why isn't this working? And so it was great to have three of us. And once again, if we disagreed, we'd have an instant decision. And the other thing was getting credit, which was more difficult in a way. The first time they turned us down, and then we went in again, saying we had some new things to show them, which we hadn't and before, whatever. And it was actually a tie. And then Gil Cates was the vice president, but the president was out of town. He was the acting president, and he voted for us, and we got credit. So we lucked out.
Thank you, Gil. You returned to TV after the massive success of Airplane with Police Squad on ABC. It was in 1982. Lieutenant Frank Drebin was created, played by the late, great Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
The show was ahead of its time and short-lived, became a massive film franchise. How did you manage things? Was it a traditional writer's room? And I've heard that you had an interesting way of dealing with the writers on staff.
We wrote the pilot, and then we brought on writers, and there was a writer's room, actually. It was good. We had great people. But what was your question about an interesting way of what?
An interesting way of dealing with the writers on staff. You paired three writers up. You broke up the writer's room and paired everybody up with three.
It's funny. I have no recollection. That could be true.
Oh,
I have no recollection of it.
Yeah, these are just stories that are out there in the world about you. Now, Top Secret. First of all, just thank you. Just thank you for Top Secret. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Can you share any secrets you haven't shared before about the making of Top Secret?
Oh, gee. Despite the name, there are no secrets. That was a really fun movie. In Airplane, we were confined to the interior of an airplane with people in seats, and then just at a control tower and a few other things. But then in Top Secret, we like, oh my God, we can go anywhere. And so that was really fun.
You were invited back to the University of Wisconsin to deliver the commencement address.
Yeah.
And you advised the graduates not to be afraid of failure.
I think fear of failure is probably motivated by ego to some extent. But on the other hand, it's probably helpful because you have a fear of failure. You put more pressure on yourself to make it right. On the other hand, if it's too much, then you prevent yourself from doing things. So I think I was just saying to people, if you do fail, just move on. It's not a big deal. It's only a big deal to you. And I told this story about after Top Secret, which did not do well at the box office. And it was the first weekend, and we were in New York and eating at Rumpelmeyer's, which I don't think is there anymore. And Travolta walked in, and we knew him from the lot a bit, and he saw us moping. And gee, our movie didn't do it. And he just said, guys, forget about it. Nobody else cares about it. Only you. For everybody else, it's just a blip. It's just a huge crushing thing for you. That really made a lot of sense to us.
It's such a great story. Thank you. It's a wonderful note to end on. Jerry, you have spent so much time with us. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope you come back again.
Well, all right. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Sandy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
That's a wrap for the Writers Hangout. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and thrive. Till we get to hang out again, keep writing. The world needs your stories.